The following segment is sponsored by Northwest Honda Dealers.
It is challenging, it is intense. I think it's the most intense form of therapy.
Wilderness therapy. It is a type of therapy where kids spend weeks out in the wilderness. Hiking, camping, and isolated, they learn how to cope with their mental illness.
K2's Genevieve Rayome joins us live in the studio, and this is a Kind is Better story you've been holding on to for quite some time.
And one I hold close to my heart. I first met the Vanderipe family a few months ago to talk about their experience with wilderness therapy. It was then a last resort move for the parents, Emily and Brett, really to save their son, Matt. All three have been honest, vulnerable, and most of all, incredibly brave to share their story, not after, but during their battle with mental illness.
Snowboarding, mountain biking, so a lot of action. Yeah.
At a very young age, Matt Vanderipe pushed limits.
Crazy, busy.
The flipping.
Yeah.
Emily and Brett's adventure-seeking son
Been active.
found joy from the fields
So I was a goalie.
to the mountains. Thousands of feet up, deep in the desert of Central Oregon, is also where he'd meet his greatest challenge.
This is reality. And if it's our reality, it's got to be somebody else's reality.
When Matt took the turn towards high school, his mental health took a darker path. Social anxiety striking first.
Scared to go to school, stomach aches, crying at night.
The stress of trying to fit in pushed him towards
The drug users and the kids that rebelled and stuff like that because they kind of felt the same way as me.
challenging weeks turned to years filled with days in a dire struggle.
Coming out of his room, not getting out of his, out of his bed.
Not brushing his teeth,
We were kind of at the end.
Drugs took his anxiety and pain away, albeit only briefly.
Depression is kind of a numb feeling. It's like you don't feel anything at all. It's like you're not even existing.
He began to question his life. His parents were willing to do anything to save him,
That's never gonna happen. Like, I would never do that.
even something they never thought they'd do. The Vanderipes sent Matt to evoke wilderness therapy.
Foam pad, a tarp, and some cordage, and I had to make my own shelter.
10 weeks in Central Oregon.
It can be pretty intense out there.
Yeah?
Rick Heiser is Evoke's executive director. We met him in Bend to learn what happens out here.
Great thing about wilderness therapy is it takes traditional therapies in an experiential environment.
Kids spend weeks trekking through the mountains, sparking their own fires, cooking their own food. In the wild, they face their fears and can confront their challenges.
And we're able to just pause life, pause what's going on, and sit down and talk about it.
Therapists spend days camping with the kids.
It's not just 1 hour in an office. I'm out there spending the night, we're watching the stars together, we're eating together, and then we're also doing therapy.
For Matt, his favorite part was also the hardest. His solo. 3 days alone.
On my solo, I actually got past a lot of anxiety that I used to struggle with.
Here's Matt after, that confidence coming back. Wilderness tested Matt's strength and grit and gave him the tools to resist what he once used as relief.
It's got to be hard to say no.
Yeah, there's times where I want to give in, but I always just remember all the stuff I went through.
Remembering his summer in the dirt, jumping over obstacles, and finding himself again.
Yeah, I'm definitely stronger.
Not perfect. It's gonna be a journey for all of us and Matt.
It's always a work in progress, right?
I wanted to end on that note for Matt's parents specifically because of where Matt's journey has taken him. Mental health is messy. Evoke and the Vanderipes say there is not one cure for all mental illness. The therapy and camps are all experiences that build upon each other, where you learn coping skills. We did this interview with Matt a few months ago. Then Matt was back in high school and inspired and determined to succeed. But he started to struggle again with anxiety and drug use. His parents had to make another tough call to send him to Utah. He's now at Vista, a therapy, substance abuse, and school program.
It's tough, right? And what do we do next? And we went through a lot getting Matt to Wilderness, and so this is another big step and a big commitment.
I mean, this is anywhere from 7 to 10 months.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, we actually get to talk to him much more than we did in Wilderness. It's a different type of programs, both great. And this program, we were able to talk to Matt within the first
week. He basically, at the end of the video conference, shared that he is exactly where he needed to be.
Do you feel like this is going to set him up well enough to succeed back here in Portland?
I think it's a part of his journey. I think it's going to be a part of his journey. Our hope is that it will give him a really good foundation to set himself up for some good decisions.
Well, the Vanderipes wanted to share their story to show others that they're not alone and to help others and inspire them to really open up and talk with their families.
Brave of them to do that. And Matt's doing well there, right?
He is doing well. He's actually playing sports, basketball, and football, and he's really getting the chance to dig into his thinking patterns to see why he makes the decisions that he does and learn how he can be the successful friend, brother, and son that he really wants to be.
And very, very powerful, too, Genevieve, for them to be so open with you about this.
They just want to encourage other families to open the conversation.
Well, they're a big step in the right direction in doing that. Good report. Thanks, Genevieve.
Thanks, Genevieve. One thing that makes wilderness so challenging is the price. Insurance doesn't cover it all, but there is help. Coming up next week on Kind is Better, we'll tell you about a foundation that can make it happen. Plus, we'll look at other alternative therapies like float therapy and transcranial magnetic stimulation, what experts say about the effectiveness of alternatives to traditional talk therapy. That's coming up next Thursday on KT News at 6. Also